So let's start today's work. I'll open the textbook and let's start. Okay, yes. So we were here yesterday, isn't it? Income and other criteria. So today, what we'll do is, uh, I think we had finished discussing this, right? And we were on public facilities, correct? Or do you want to read this again, just to recap? Is this fine? Do you remember that we were doing this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So, can we continue? Yes, the certain
Yes.
important terms that we used for comparison was the average income, or as it is called, the per capita income. Okay. Then we understood that what are averages helping us in and what do they hide also. Have you understood this statement very properly? Averages are useful for comparison, but they also hide disparities. I hope you have understood this statement properly. Let's take here. Give, I'll explain with this, okay? Give three examples where an average is used for comparing situations. Where can we give three examples or instances where you can use average? Yes, average age, okay, fine. Then anything else? Height, correct. Okay, so good. So you all know which things are being compared, right? All right. So uh, what does this statement means that when in a class of 35 students, okay, if I'm trying to find out what can be the average height or average weight of the students of that class or the average marks of the student of that class, I come to a particular figure and I get, let's say we are calculating the marks of some students, of these 35 students in the class, and we come to the conclusion that the average marks scored by the students in this class is 35. Let's take for an example. Does that mean that everyone of that class has got that marks 35? No. It means
No.
that there are students who have got even less than that, who have scored even less
Yeah.
than that, and there are students who have scored even more than that. But the average figure, when we actually calculate the standing or the rating of the class, we can decide that, okay, majority of the students have got 35. It's like that. So it hides disparities, means what? You cannot understand the higher and lower values to it. You are sticking to that one number. Is this clear now? Okay, now why do you think average income is an important criterion for development? It gives us
According to
an idea of what is the average person of that country likely to earn, and it also gives us that if the person, if this average figure is giving us an idea that people can earn this much, that means it also gives us the idea of standard of living of that country. Okay. Now, besides size of per capita income, what other property of income is important in comparing two or more societies? See, besides size of per capita income, okay, we are calculating the development of the country based on per capita income. Okay, now what property of income? See, here here in this answer we understood that we with average we come to know that what is the average income of the person of that country and what can be the standard of living of that country, right? So now what is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
that the average actually also tells us? Average gives us another important thing is that it means, does it have more equitable distribution? Okay, what I was
No,
talking of
ma'am.
here is that does the average give us an idea whether everyone earns that much or scores that much or everyone's height is that much? No. Is it that figure, is it equally distributed? No. So it also gives us an idea of equitable distribution. Okay. Suppose records show that the average income in a country has been increasing over a period of time. Okay. Suppose if we compare 3 consecutive years of a particular country A and we see that the average income in that country is rising, it is increasing year by year. Does it mean that we can conclude that all sections of economy have become better?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Ma'am, because the money can also be unequally distributed, and as they have asked, illustrate your answer with an example. We can take an example that suppose a teacher decides to distribute 10 chocolates among 10 of her students, and she keeps the tray of chocolates on the front bench, but the children in the row take all the chocolates. So the children in the back row do not get chocolates, but the teacher can assume that all of them got chocolates. So in this way, we can understand that the money is unequally distributed, and other is the population, the number of people literated, and
Yes.
the
So we cannot guarantee that there is a progress of economy. You can see the rise in money, but you cannot
yes, ma'am.
actually guarantee that everyone has benefited from it, right? Okay. Now this you can find out on your own later. Okay, this question, and write a paragraph on your notion of what should India do to or achieve to become a developed country. That also you can think. We'll discuss it during revision time. All right. Now let's come to the other criterias, and I want somebody to start reading.
When we looked at individual aspirations and goals, we found that people not only think of better income, but also have goals such as security, respect for others, equal treatment, freedom, etc. in mind. Similarly, when we think of nation or region, we may, besides average income, think of other
Other equally.
equally important
All
attributes.
right. So before you proceed further, let me see if you remember the key terms. When we were talking of better income, we are referring to which goals? What was the word for that? Material things and non-material things, right? So income comes under what?
Materialistic,
Materialistic things. And what are all these others? Security, respect, freedom,
non-materialistic.
non-materialistic. Okay. So you have to remember the most important statement is that the goals are always a mixture of materialistic and non-materialistic. Okay. All right. Now, what could these attributes be? Somebody else now continue reading.
Okay, what could these attributes be? Let us examine this through an example. Table 1.3 gives the per capita income of
Some problem with your
Kerala, and
throat?
Bihar. Okay. Actually, these figures are of per capita income. New net state domestic product at current prices for 2017-18. Let us ignore what the complicated term exactly means. Roughly, we can take it to be the per capita income of the state. We find that of the three, Haryana has the highest per capita income and Bihar is at bottom.
So you're supposed to see this table here. Okay. Then
That
continue.
this means that on an average, a person in Haryana earned rupees 1,80,174 in 1 year, whereas on an average, a person in Bihar earned only around rupees 34,409 rupees. So, if per capita income were to be used as the measure of development, Haryana will be considered the most developed and Bihar the least developed state of the three.
Okay. So now have you
Now let
understood?
us look. Yes,
Correct.
ma'am.
This we had discussed yesterday. So if we are keeping only income as the criteria, okay, only income as the criteria, you will see that Haryana's per capita income is much more than that of Bihar. So obviously we come to a conclusion that Haryana is more developed than Bihar. Now, so now let's see here. Start from here. Okay, somebody else now.
How is it that the average person in Haryana has more income than the average person in Kerala but lags behind in these crucial areas? The reason is money in our pocket cannot buy all the goods and services that you may need to
Which
live.
are these crucial areas that they were talking about here? It is all
Ma'am,
these. That is
Kerala, Haryana,
infant
and Bihar.
mortality rate and literacy rate. We had seen yesterday, right? Now continue.
So, Income by itself is not a completely adequate in
Indicator.
indicator of material goods and services that citizens are able to use. For example, normally your money cannot buy you a
Pollution.
pollution-free environment or ensure that you get
Unadulterated.
unadulterated medicine unless you can afford to shift to a community that already has all these things. Money may also not be able to protect you from infection diseases unless the whole of our community takes preventive steps.
All right, you can stop. So what does it mean? Who can tell me what it means? What have you understood?
So
Yes.
basically, this paragraph means that money can't buy us many things such as pollution-free environment or unadulterated medicines and etc.
Okay, so what does it mean? It means that basically money is not the only criteria for judging the development of a country, because what is the use of that money if your population doesn't get a pollution free environment to stay fit, if your population doesn't get good quality medicines, or if your country cannot give them with good quality doctors or teachers, that money is of no use. Okay, so basically, here we are seeing on some other facilities that the government needs to provide with that money. You are having per capita income now, but with that money, what can you buy and what you cannot buy will also judge whether your country is developed or not developed. Okay, so now can you start reading from here? Actually, for many of the most.
Actually, for many of the important things in life, in the in life, the best way, also the cheapest way, is to provide these goods and services collectively. Just think, will it be cheaper to have collective security for the whole locality or for each house to have its own security staff? What if no one other than you in your village or locality is interested in studying? Would you be able to study? Not unless your parents could afford to send, or not unless your parents would afford to send you to some private school elsewhere. So you are actually able to study because many other children also want to study, and because many people believe that the government should open schools and provide other facilities so that all children have a chance to study. Even now, in many areas, children, particularly girls, are not able to go to high schools because the government or society has not provided adequate facilities.
Yes. So what have you understood? The second important point that we see, what they used here also, unless the whole community takes some steps. So it is not the work when you talk of development, you cannot just ask one category of, you cannot say government's work or you cannot say it is one person's work, but it has to be a collective effort, right? It has to be a collective effort. If somebody is making a collective effort in your locality to keep the locality clean or to grow trees, it is going to benefit the entire community in the coming years. Otherwise, if you are unable to breathe fresh air, there's continuous pollution everywhere. You as population of that country, you as members of those community don't take a step to reduce all this, you have to pay a higher price for it later, because you will continuously fall sick and then you will have to spend more money on getting yourself treated, which may turn up to be very, very high in expenses. So if you are actually doing something collectively, it becomes cheaper. So planting trees or taking care of environment or keeping environment clean or something where everyone in the community can contribute is actually having, it will be a cheaper collective security for the whole locality. It's like that. Are you understanding? In many schools, there are schools in villages where children go, but in many schools, there are not enough facilities for the girl students who want to attend. And as a result, the parents don't send them to school. So obviously, one strata of society doesn't get the chance to develop themselves. Okay, now what is the next? What was the next here? We were talking of literacy rate. So if the literacy rate has to be proper in any country, then the government of that country should see that they are providing good facilities to everyone. So the minimum basic facility of education or literacy should be provided to everyone with all the other things, conditions that are needed for it. Okay, so when you talk of schools in rural India, you may not find a school like ours which has all these facilities, but at least it should be a place, a room where children can sit, which will protect them from the environment, where they'll feel that okay, they are not sitting on the ground, they are not sitting on open air, and their health is getting affected, so they are actually getting some chance to go and get education. Now we'll see on this what should be there if this has to go up. Sorry, the mortality rate has to go down and the life expectancy rate has to go up. Okay, so see here, who will read now?
Kerala has a low infant mortality rate because it has adequate provisions of basic health and educational facilities. Similarly, in some states,
Public distribution
the
system.
public distribution system functions well. Health and nutritional status of people of such states is certainly likely to be better.
Yes. So what has to be proper, or in what field the development has to be, or that per capita income that your country is earning should be distributed properly amongst what public distribution system, or for taking care of health and nutritional status of the people, because healthy population will contribute to the development of the country, isn't it? If your population is going hungry, if your population doesn't have enough proper nutrition, they don't have proper healthcare facilities, then obviously they are going to be sick. The quality of output they will put for their country to get maximum development or for their progress will be very, very less. Are you accepting that? So other than that income that you are earning, that income basically has to be equally distributed to all these fields if you want to actually find good amount of development in your country. Are you understanding what I'm trying to tell you? Yes. And let's read this. Now, who decides? Who decides what all these criterias are? Okay, so let's read this and then we will solve the questions based on this. Okay, so we'll see whether you have understood things. All right. So, who wants to read the next part?
Once it is realized that even though the level of income is important, yet it has an inadequate measure of the level of development, we begin to think of other criteria. There could be a long list of such criteria, but then it would not be so useful. What we need is a small number of most important things: health and education indicators, such as the ones we used in comparison of Kerala and Haryana, are among them. Over the past decade or so, health and education indicators have come to be widely used along with income as a measure of development. For instance, Human Development Report published by UNDP compared countries based on the educational levels of the people, their health status, and per capita income. It would be interesting to look at certain relevant data regarding India and its neighbors from Human Development Report 2020.
All right. So as the name suggests, because here we saw if the per capita income is good of the country, it's not enough. Its population should also be healthy. The education level of that country should be good in order to develop, okay, or in order to be called as a developed nation. All right. So now the Human Development Report decides this. What are they saying? That if the health and education are also the indicators. So what was the term used here for that? Health and education. Who will read that term? Health is
Literacy rate.
the life expectancy rate. Okay. That means life expectancy means how much
Birth
the
rate.
life expectancy or how much years you can live because of development in science and technology now that is possible. And in case of education, it is how many percentage of your population is literate. And in fact, more than literate, it is highly educated. Quality education. That also is really important if we have to decide that our country is developed. Now, the United Nations has prepared the Human Development Report, okay, which compares, see here, which compares India with some of its neighbors. And can you see here? First is giving you, as you all know, the first criteria is the per capita income of the country. Second is life expectancy, and third is your literacy. And where is it ranking because of all these criterias? Okay. Can you see? Can you actually tell India ranks in which place? Of all the one, two, three, four, five, six countries are given here. So including India, there are six countries. Otherwise, there are five other countries. What is the rank of India? Where would you rate India in the developmental field?
Second rank.
Second rank, based on what?
Ma'am, the literacy rate and the mostly literacy rate.
Ma'am, life expect this third paragraph.
In life expectancy, it will be third or something.
Okay, right.
And ma'am, in years of schooling, people aged 25 and above, it should be third rank.
Okay,
And
and
HDI
based on the
rank in the,
income,
ma'am, it should be on fourth or fifth.
this is the lowest. One, two, three, four, fifth rank, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
then, which is the most developed country?
Ma'am, it should be Sri.
Sri Lanka.
Yes.
Okay, because the number of people surviving per thousand are 77, and the number of children or number of people getting this literacy rate is also high. All right, so here all the notes are given. Like if you have not understood, HDI means what? Human Development Index, what we had seen just now in the paragraph that we read about. Okay, so keep in mind all these important terms also, HDI, or what is the meaning of life expectancy, what is per capita income, all these can be asked for 1 mark answers. Okay. So now we'll read this, and the last paragraph, that is sustainability of development, will complete in our final lecture. Okay. So we'll finish reading this, and then if you have any doubts, we'll clear that or we'll stop for the day. Okay. So now who will continue reading?
Isn't it surprising that a small country in our neighborhood, Sri Lanka, is much ahead of India in every respect? Is ahead of India in every respect, and a big country like us has such a low rank in the world. Table 1.6 also shows that though Nepal and Bangladesh have low per capita income than that of India, and they are better than India in life expectancy. Many improvements have been suggested in calculating HDI, and many new components have been added to Human Development Report. But by prefixing human to development, it has made it very clear that why it is important in development is what is happening to citizens of a country. It is people, their health, their well-being that is most important. Do you think that do you think there are certain other aspects that should be considered in measuring human development?
Okay, so this also you can think, and during our revision time or something, we can discuss on this part also. All right, so which according to the HDI, what is most important is the not just the net income, but also the health and well-being of their citizens. So these 2 points are also important. So life expectancy, literacy rate, health and well-being of the citizens is very, very important in calculating the developmental state or level of your country. Okay, is it clear? So I'll stop for the day today.
If you like our videos, do share them and subscribe to our channel. If you want awesome quizzes, write to us. Keep watching and keep learning with Walnut.